What dark secret are you hiding from everyone? A man broke into my home about 10 years ago. Well, kind of. He knocked, I answered the door, and he pushed his way in. He spoke about the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse and tried to extort me for protection, or he and his brothers of doom would come and kill me. He was huge. Ex-Navy, if he was to be believed. Drunk as hell. Hand covered in blood holding a broken bottle. I was terrified. I told him to leave. He wouldn't. He was getting aggressive. I told him I would splatter his brains against the wall if he didn't. I didn't have a gun at the time. Anyway, he didn't leave. I went into my kitchen and grabbed a knife and sliced at him a few times. He staggered away, seemingly okay. I assumed he was all right, just wounded a bit. I never saw him again. A neighbor told me days later a man was found dead, some wounds on his arms. I can only guess he bled out, but I never got questioned, somehow. There was a lot of blood in and around my house. I lived in a pretty seedy area, so I guess the cops just didn't care. The guy was apparently a repeat criminal. I killed a man at least indirectly and have never told anybody. 2 years ago one of my best friends and I went half on a bunch of Xanax. On June 8 we both took Xanax from the batch we split. I woke up, he didn't. No one knows I had anything to do with the drugs that killed him, and I don't know if I can ever bring myself to tell someone. Last Christmas I leaned my sister, and I don't have the same father and are technically half-sisters. My sister's biological father tried to start a relationship with my mom that resulted in a pregnancy and ultimately didn't work out. That biological father is dead now, but I didn't probe any further about his identity or how he died in case it was something traumatic for my mom to remember. So she raised my sister as a single mother at my grandma's house in the 80s. Then she met my father and they started dating, and it worked out because they got married in the 90s, moved into a new house, and a short time after that I was born. She told me never call my sister my half-sister and just pretend all of this doesn't matter because she's my sister and I'm keeping it that way. And if anyone asks about the 10-year age gap I just tell them, it's a long story. When I was younger I lived with my grandmother. Not long after I turned 18 her health started to decline. That sort of decline that you know means she won't be around for much longer. Over the months I did my best to take care of her. Getting her to the hospital when she needed, and other things. We had someone coming every day to help her with things I couldn't. Well, what my family doesn't know is that the night she passed, I was in the living room watching TV. My dog was in bed with my grandma, and I started to hear him whimper and bark. I knew what was happening. I knew that if I acted I could potentially save her. I didn't want to watch her suffer anymore though, to watch her live with so much pain, and unable to do anything for herself anymore. So I made the choice to let her pass before making any calls. She lived 92 years, and the only regret I have is that she passed a month after I would have graduated if I hadn't been kicked out of school. She had been in good enough health at the time to go to my graduation. I still kick myself for how stupid I was back then.